1 week till Christmas. Literally, it will be Christmas evening in a week. And we're pre-recording this, so I'm running all these dates in my head as I'm going. It's a mess, but it's going to look good and it's going to sound good, and you're going to spend time with your friends, and you're going to hear an old time radio show with a horror thriller Christmas theme. That's old time radio for you, and it's all happening here on Haunted Radio from Space.
Good evening, friends.
Hello, John Weber and Capt'n John here on Starbase 80, broadcasting to the known universe. And it's time for the Haunted Radio from Space. It's December 18th, if I got my dates right, and sometimes I do. So here we are, and as we do with every show, let's introduce my co-host, the wonderful man, wonderful friend, a writer, a terribly creative science fiction and horror genius. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Joe Townsel. Welcome, Joe, once again.
Thank you, Capt'n John, and I always appreciate so much your kind words and your intros, and I have to compliment the show itself real quickly. The power suggestion. I mean, we haven't aired it yet, I don't believe, but we had a shadow episode recently, and where Lamont Cranston can cloud men's minds. Well, I think the power of our show, Haunted Radio from Space, has an equally robust effect on science, because I feel like I've suddenly been propelled 4 days into the future. Maybe it's just a feeling. I don't know.
We're bending time. Oh, we're a menace to the time authority. Oh, yes. Well, let's bring in our guest. We because we do these pre-recorded episodes, we're lucky enough to be reunited with a guy that we consider our father, our internet father. And I know he's going to hate that, so let me bring him on ASAP. It's Flobo Boyce.
I'm sorry. 4 days in the future, I was looking to see if the presses were still good. But yes, so glad to be a part of this for the holiday episodes.
It is strange that there would be holiday-themed horror and thriller stories, but old-time radio was a wild place. And a place of wild imagination. And I'm also very excited because I'm playing for you two gentlemen a show that is definitely one of my favorites. Where I would put it in the top 10, I think I would put it even in the top 5. I just really love this show. And as we've observed on some of these shows, genre, so sci-fi, horror, in the old time radio era, which is basically 1930 to 1960, a little bit earlier, a little bit later, many shows, but really the heyday, the golden age of radio, they did not love nor respect horror and science fiction. So a lot of these shows would be very low budget, and they would sound kind of low budget. I don't know if you're going to feel that way about The Whistler. I hear it, and it sounds really beautiful to me. So I definitely will want to get your impressions as we go. There's also, I have a weird connection with this show because there are many shows that have a horror host. And so we talk about the horror hosts like the Crypt Keeper on Tales from the Crypt, or Elvira.
Or Boobarella. From The Simpsons.
Boobarella. I forgot about her. But of course, there was Vampira back in the day. Who's the guy who's still around now? Sven Gulli. Sven Gulli still does stuff. So there is there is this idea of the character. Now, a lot of times on The Whistler, what happens is there's a crime being committed. So it's really more like a crime series. And usually what happens is the guy thinks he gets away with it, or he thinks something's going on. And then at the end of The Whistler, there's almost always a twist ending. And it's almost always for the worse. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
And so you can listen to them over and over again and be like, I can't tell how this is going to end. And oh man, that poor guy. Oh man. This, of course, is the Christmas episode. It's going to end a little differently than the usual unhappy ending. I know I'm giving it away, but it is Christmas. So there you go.
Death in the snow.
Also, notable, you know what? Let's just get into the show. And if you're joining us, and I hope you are, pre-recorded episode. So of course, feel free to make whatever comments you want to make, but we won't be able to respond to them because we're pre-recording. You will also find this threw me for a loop. I was double checking the recording because sometimes I don't do that, and it turns out to be a disaster.
Deep cut.
we did
No comment.
we did like 60% of an episode in a pre-record last week, and it turned out the recording wasn't a full recording. So we were like, it just ended. Oh no, we got to throw this whole thing away. But this one, I double checked. The title I was given was called Christmas Bonus. And in the great tradition of Police Squad, which I don't know if you remember the show Police Squad, they would put a title on the screen, and the narrator would say a different title. On the screen, it would say like Hickory Dickory Death. And the guy would say, tonight's title, Betrayal from the Grave. Like, wait, they don't match up. Well, this one's the same. This one's called, in all the notes, in all the notations for this episode, it's called Christmas Bonus. And wait till you hear what I heard, which made me, as we say in comedy, plots.
Oh, this will be fun.
Okay, so here we go.
Every go signal reminds you that you do go farther with Signal gasoline. The Signal Oil Program.
Killer heartburn.
Signal Oil Company and your neighborhood Signal dealer bring you another curious story by The Whistler. Tonight's Lie or Consequences.
Wait, what?
Huh.
You said Christmas
bonus.
Turns out
Maybe
it goes
that was
by
what
both
it was.
titles. So it's cool. It goes by both titles.
I am the Whistler, and I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales, many secrets hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Presently I'll tell you of nameless terrors of which they dare not speak.
It's spooky, right?
Yeah, got his own show. That's pretty cool.
Within the human character, the line between good and evil is a thin and waving one. And very often, the one small impulse for good will outweigh and nullify the bad. Such was the case with Michael Cobb. Mike wasn't bad, really. It happened while he was a kid before he knew any better. He'd gotten into trouble, gone to prison, served a stretch. Now he's out, and he's learned his lesson. He's proving that he's going straight, working hard at his job in the office of a large department store. He's married to a girl he loves, and he's happy.
Delicious. Oh, nobody can cook a better breakfast than you, darling.
Thank you, sir. Now, Mike, don't boast your coffee.
I got a...
I feel like the Whistler was like my dad. It's like, I know everything, but get to the point. Like, I almost forgot there's supposed to be a whole different show after that. But, yes.
One of the things that I love about the Whistler is he has this omnipotent, point of view. He can see and hear everything. He knows the secrets in men and women's souls. And in one of the episodes, it's called Mind Over Matter. One of the writers got away with this, and I have no idea if the people at the top said this was okay, but he says, tonight's a story about extrasensory perception. Why would I know anything about it? Well, obviously, because I can read minds. That's how I can tell you these stories. And I'm like, you explained it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that. You explained it. So there's this guy walking around whistling in the streets, reading all our minds.
Yeah.
And then then Sunday night he tells our stories.
That makes the watcher even less remarkable than UPN. I almost keep referencing that show. I swear to God.
One thing I find remarkable. It's a question for you, John.
Yeah.
Now the question I have for John is this: is it just because this is a Christmas episode, or is it throughout the series? But I note the use, as you so aptly demonstrated, the use of harp and flute in the music soundtrack, as opposed to heavy-handed organ. So I wonder if that's,
it runs throughout. Nope, runs throughout the series. Big part of the series. And
interesting choices.
Yeah. Now Signal oil. Signal oil.
Signal oil. Yep.
Is our sponsor. Signal oil only existed on the West Coast. But obviously they had big fat pockets because they had an orchestra, they had like good sound effects, good actors. It's a very high quality show.
Yeah.
And it never became a national show. Why? Because Signal Oil was paying for it. So that only isolated it to west of the Rockies.
Oh, I see.
Now, they tried to find it places in the other markets. So for a very short time on the East Coast, where Flobo and I grew up, there was like 2 years where Campbell's Soup, I think, was sponsoring it. And everybody was interested. Everybody wanted to hear the show. They would hear stories about the show, but it was pretty much exclusive just to the West Coast. So you're hearing something very rare and very valuable.
Well, I can imagine they had deep pockets for the high quality production, because I'm sure they were charging astronomical prices of 5 cents a gallon for gas.
Exactly. Good point.
A run, I'll be late.
Well, a couple of minutes won't make any difference.
Well, maybe not most days, but today is going to be a big one. The last shopping day before Christmas, you know. Stores will be jammed. We'll be swamped with work until late tonight. Besides, I don't want to spoil my record. 6 months and I haven't been late to work once.
I know. It's fine. I'm sure it's all appreciate it.
Yeah, Lane, I think they do, too. I really think they like me down there. You know, like my work and everything.
Oh, sure, Mike. How could they help liking you?
No, I mean, well, I'm beginning to feel like all that stuff is all forgotten. Almost like something that never happened.
It is. It is forgotten, Mike. Everything's different now.
Yeah, it is. Oh, this is going to be a lot different Christmas than the last one, isn't it?
Yes, Mike.
You were wonderful, Elaine. Coming to see me, sticking by me. Oh, darling, I promise you there'll never be another Christmas like that. Never.
I know there won't.
No more conjugal visits.
From now on, they're all going to be really nice.
Yeah, you bet. Oh, gosh, that reminds me. I haven't got your presents yet. I'll have to run out my lunch hour and find something.
Now, Mike,
never admit to your wife you haven't got her present yet.
Oh, maybe next year will be more.
No, never you mind. I'll get you what I done, please.
Starling admission.
Oh, my gosh. How I will be late if I don't run.
Hey, here's your hat.
Oh, thanks. Well, goodbye, darling. If I don't get home before midnight, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
That's kind of sinister. Merry Christmas.
Yes, it looks like a Merry Christmas for you at last, doesn't it, Mike? For the first time in your life, almost. A real Merry Christmas. You notice the smiles on people's faces as they walk down the street. You get sort of a kick out of the fancy red and green draped windows of the store. The holly smells good in the elevator. And you chuckle as you pass the toy department with a perspiring Santa Claus pulling on his red coat. Then into the office, everybody smiling.
Sweaty Santa Claus.
You
Am I
just pee
right,
on his
guys?
leg.
Ooh.
Yeah, you know what, Mike? Maybe you're getting that thing they call the Christmas spirit.
Who knows,
Well,
Mike?
morning, George. Merry Christmas.
Hi, Mike. You're pretty cheerful this morning, aren't you?
Oh, why not? It's almost Christmas, a day of good cheer. Well, what's the matter with you, Sourpuss?
Nuts, Humboldt.
Uh-oh. The boss on the rampage again, huh?
Yeah.
Well, what is it this time?
You haven't heard?
No, what?
Somebody lifted another $1,000 out of the receipts last night.
What, again?
Yeah, it makes about 10 grand that's been missing in the last 6 months.
Well, no wonder Mr. Humboldt's upset.
Detectives are in there with him right now, and they've got old Gus, the night watchman, in for questioning. I suppose we'll all be on the carpet like the last time.
Oh, gee, that's not so good. $10,000. Hey, that's grand larceny.
Yeah, and the cops are probably getting pretty sore about not pinning it on somebody. Now, look, here comes old Gus, fresh from the Inquisition.
Yeah.
Just
Thank you, Mr.
gossiping.
Humboldt.
There's another thing you should know. Now, this is from December 25th. It aired in 1944.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, America was a very different country back then. I don't have to tell you gentlemen that. But one of the things that I believe we're just about to hear is there's a tradition of the Scandinavian guy.
Oh no.
So
Why am I thinking Swedish Chef?
yes, exactly. I'm not sure about old Gus. I don't know if he's Swedish. I don't know if he's Dutch. I don't know. Perhaps he's from the Netherlands. I do not know. But here we go.
Gus. Hey, Gus.
Yeah, Mr. Osborne?
Are they playing questions and answers in there again, Gus?
Yeah. There was you this time, there was you that time. The only time I got to sleep when they called me down here for this. What for would I want to steal money for? I got a wife. Fine wife. 4 kids. I steal money, I go to jail. They starve. What for would I steal?
Sure,
Doink, doink.
Gus. But I know why you're so worked up about it.
Yeah?
You probably had to admit where you were last night between 12 and 1 o'clock.
How come you know that, where I was?
Go on. Everybody in the store knows that, Gus. It's a standing joke. Everybody knows you eat your lunch every morning between 12 and 1. They know you go up to the 13th floor and stretch out on one of those divans in the Louis the 15th room, the classiest in the joint.
Okay, so what's wrong with that? I got to eat. Why not in style?
Sure, only for that hour. Anybody could come in and move out the other 12 floors, and you'd never know it.
All right, so what? Maybe that is when somebody stole money. I do not know. I only know I did not steal. And this is the only time I got to sleep. When they have to go asking me questions.
What a character.
Hey, is that true about his breakfast from 12 to 1?
Sure. There's a night watchman for you.
That probably explains why they're so sure the thief is somebody inside the store. Somebody who knows about Gus and what time he won't be on this floor.
Yeah, it could be. Uh-oh, that's Humboldt. Yes, Mr. Humboldt. Yes. It's right away, sir. Just as I thought. It's my turn now. Well, if I start screaming, you'll know he's putting me on the rack.
Okay, I'll bring a branding iron to your rescue.
Hilarious.
Don't laugh yet. You'll probably be next. If Humboldt really decides to catch a thief, he'll catch one by hook or crook.
Oh my God.
That's like
Merry
the most
Christmas, Mike.
foreboding joy to the world I've ever heard. I'm going to roll that back a little.
It was like womp womp womp.
Yeah, it was a combination of sad trombone, joy to the world, and oh, you're going to get it.
Just as I thought.
Reminds me when
My turn now. Well, if I start screaming, you'll know he's putting me on the rack.
Okay, I'll bring a branding iron to your rescue.
Don't laugh yet. You'll probably be next. If Humboldt really decides to catch a thief, he'll catch one by hook or crook.
The sound of busting kneecaps. That's
Merry Christmas, Mike.
I'm sorry, Joe. What were you going to say?
No, it's good we heard it again because it reminds me of when Spock was talking to the Vulcan science elders or whatever, and in the J.J. Abrams 2009 Trek movie, and he goes, "Live long and prosper." Translation, F you. The words don't match the tone.
Right. Which immediately followed by the Whistler going, Merry Christmas.
Oh, now what's the matter? You don't seem as happy as you were. Something happened to dampen the Christmas spirit, maybe? Something you can't describe?
Man.
Can't even put your
No wonder
finger
Santa's
on?
sweating.
Just a funny, sinking feeling? Forget it. George Osborne has been in and out of Humboldt's office, and almost the whole day has gone by and nothing's happened. And everything seems to have calmed down. In fact, it's George's turn to have the Christmas spirit.
I really didn't expect it this year, but there it was in my pay envelope. Nice and crisp and green. With the best Christmas wishes of the J.C. Devers store.
Oh, gee, that's swell, George.
Yeah, real honest to gosh Christmas bonus. I can sure use it.
Who couldn't?
I don't know whether you'll get one or not, Mike. You've only been here 6 months. Then maybe. By the way, why don't you mosey in and pick up your pay? It's almost 9 o'clock. We'll close in 5 minutes.
Well, I guess
Okay, hang on, Flobo. Yes.
Are these guys hanging around? Hey, did you watch the Yankees game last night? Guys, I got paid. And it was great. Is he like doing the bling flex? Like, why is he bringing this up? And it was green. Like, well, that an issue. Not that baloney money.
Well, look at the envelope I got.
Yeah, what a jerk. All right, Sal, get out of here. You know?
When the little kid who has an ice cream and none of the other kids have an ice cream, when that guy grows up, he turns into this guy.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to share.
Wait for Mr. Humboldt to call me. Golly, I thought we'd get paid earlier. Still haven't bought Elaine's present.
Ah, well, don't worry. Most of the smaller stores will still be open for a couple of hours.
Yeah, sure. But I thought I'd get her something she liked real well in a little store up on 10th Avenue. Oh, well, it'll be open till late.
Say, I wonder if they've found out anything about the 10 grand. Boy, they've really questioned everybody around, though.
They didn't question me. In fact, they'd never questioned me about it. I don't quite understand that.
Oh, well, I don't know. I guess you got such an honest face or something.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Yes, Mr. Humboldt. Well, yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'll send him right in. Well, maybe we spoke too soon. He wants to see you.
Oh?
On the other hand, maybe he just wants to hand you your Christmas bonus in person. After all, you are getting to be the fair-haired boy around here these days.
I'd better go in.
You might even be in line for a promotion. You can't tell.
Okay.
Stop jinxing it.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Humboldt?
Yes, Cobb. Sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Cobb, you've been with us 6 months now.
Yes, sir?
And I must admit that in that time you've demonstrated an admirable aptitude for the work.
Thanks, Mr. Humboldt.
Yes, in fact, there's been some discussion of raising your salary, promoting you. I even talked to Mr. Prentice, the manager, about it myself.
Well, thanks, Mr. Humboldt.
Yes, and that's why I regret very much to tell you this. I must inform you that we're forced to dispense with your services.
Wait,
as of
what?
Tonight.
You mean I'm fired?
I'm afraid that's it. Yeah, your 2 weeks' pay is in this envelope.
Wait a minute. If I'm been so good, why am I being fired?
I'm not at liberty to offer any explanations. I have my orders just the
It's got
same as-
something to do with this missing money, hasn't it?
I told
This
you
is
that
your
it-
way of telling me you think I took it, isn't it?
Now, Cobb,
That's it, isn't it, Mr. Humboldt? You've questioned everyone else in the department. With me, you figure questions are unnecessary, don't you?
Well, since you put it that way, Cobb, naturally we must take into consideration your past.
You know about my prison record. I told you about it. But I've told you about it if I was going to steal again.
I'm not accusing you of stealing again. I only say we can't afford to take chances. We simply find it advisable.
All right. I understand. I understand a lot of things now, Mr. Humboldt. Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Humboldt, for the Christmas bonus.
He said it. He said it.
Well, did you get it? Did he give you a Christmas bonus?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a Christmas bonus, all right.
Hey, what's up? What's the matter?
Oh, nothing. I'll tell you about it later. I'm leaving now.
Oh, yeah, you're in a hurry. But wait, I almost forgot. With my bonus, I can pay you the $30 I owe you.
Huh?
Here. 10, 20, 30. That ought to help with that present for your wife, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, George. Thanks.
That ought to help just swell.
What? Stop.
Merry
Christmas. Yes, Flobo.
If you're going to let someone go, why even say, you're doing so well, we're going to promote you? But just kidding. What is this, a reality show? That is so cold, man. a fantastic job.
This is like the worst episode of Undercover Boss.
Yeah.
You've been doing great. And that's why you're fired.
Right.
Well, okay, obviously we're
Merry
all tied
Christmas.
up in knots. Now, we do feel for this guy, right? Like, this is decent enough storytelling. I do feel terrible for this guy.
I mean, yeah, it's Christmas time. You can think it's cold. You know, I'm on board. I'm engaged. Which, to be fair, there's some of these shows I go, that's just racism. But this was actually pretty good. what I don't understand is how everyone just changed the tone, just changed it a dime, right? The foreboding music, the "we love you, you're fired." Like it's just so.
And that's what makes a thriller Christmas story so interesting. That, and I love with the joy to the world. It's very scary. Like I like everything they're doing here. They're making so many good moves. Okay, let's.
Well, I mean, I
halfway
don't know
through.
if this is they're going this direction, but
Yeah, Joe.
I'm getting a vibe of like Night of the Meek from the Twilight Zone, Art Carney, when he played Santa. It's kind of got that feeling for me so far.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't want to ruin this, but I'm not sure how supernatural it's going to get. Probably not at all. The Whistler is, again, it's mostly crime stories, but the Whistler's creepy. Yes, what a terrible Christmas you're having. Ooh.
We play some music for you.
Yeah. That premonition you had this morning was right, wasn't it? That funny, sinking feeling. Now you know, don't you, Mike? You knew it all the time, really.
You knew it all the time.
All this past 6 months you've been kidding yourself. The dream bubble has burst. Merry Christmas, Mike. The crowds are still cheerful on the streets. The windows are still bright and gay, and the holly still spices the air. But you don't see or feel or smell. No, there's only the sensation of a chill wind cutting you to the bone as you wander the dark streets, not knowing or caring where you are.
Damn.
Hello, Michael. Merry Christmas.
Huh? Oh, hello, Reverend Hewitt. I didn't see you.
So I noticed. I was just getting home from my last-minute shopping. Won't you come in for a moment? A cup of tea, perhaps?
Why, no, I...
Oh, come on. I haven't seen you for a long time. That is, for a chat. Besides, it's chilly out. A cup of hot tea will warm you up. You look as if you could stand warming up, Michael. Come in.
No, I've got to get along.
Oh, come now. That lovely wife of yours will miss you for a few more minutes.
I tell you, I've got to
This is so
go.
kinky. Stop.
Very well, Michael.
I really must go. Baby, it's cold outside.
Oh man, I can't even add to that without the spirit of my mom coming in and tisking at me.
I won't keep you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Reverend. I didn't mean to,
Well, I understand, son. You're troubled. Is there anything I can do?
No, I'm all right.
Well, I know you too well, Michael. I've known you all my life. Now, I've helped you before, haven't I? Why?
I don't know. I don't know whether you did or not.
Did you?
All that stuff you told me about turning over a new leaf, forgetting the past. I believed it.
Oh, yes, of course.
Now, maybe you should have told it to some other people instead of me. It just don't work, Reverend. It just don't work. All that stuff about being good and doing good. It don't pay off.
It does, Michael. It does. You must believe that. Even a little good done brings a great reward.
Yeah, maybe to some people. Only maybe some of us are behind an 8-ball we can't get around.
Michael, please come in. I feel I must talk to you.
Not
Maybe-
tonight, Reverend. But all the talking I can stand. Now I'm going to do my own thinking. I know what I'm going to do. You can bet your sweet life I know just what I'm going to do.
Oh, great. He's a free thinker now, too. Jeez.
What's Mike gonna do?
Yes, your mind is made up now, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah.
Humboldt made it up for you, didn't he?
He sure
You
did.
hate him, don't you, Mike?
Oh, you hate
And all
him.
the smug people like him who've never done a stretch and stir. They're your enemies, aren't they, Mike? Whether you wanted them to be or not. And you're just one of the cell rats. Okay, if that's the way it is, that's the way you'll play it. What's that? Footsteps following you? Maybe if you stop by this lighted window. Yeah, you were right, Mike. They're following you, all right. 2 of them. You saw them duck into that doorway when you stopped and turned around.
Tailing me. They got Dick's tailing me.
Dicks.
Why, sure, you dope. They wouldn't let you just walk out of there. They think you took the money. They're going to tail you, hound you, track you down. Okay. Okay, if they think I took the money, I'll give them reason to. This time I will take it.
You are listening to The Whistler, brought to you by your friend, the Signal Oil Company.
Okay, Mr. Boyce.
What? It just happened. Oh, yeah, I'm so, what is it? I'm going to give a reason to tell him I'm guilty. That'll teach him. That's not how it's done. Can I be this guy's counsel? Sir.
You're going to make you wonder if the Reverend was really very good at his job.
I guess so.
Yeah, so I guess that's where we are. Mike's like, oh, well, they think I stole it, huh? Well, then I'm going to steal money from them. That'll learn them.
I'll do my own thinking. Stop thinking.
Okay, so I have a feeling we're going to get a Signal Oil commercial right now.
Marketers of famous Signal gasoline, your best buy today. Remember to let every go signal remind you do go farther with Signal gasoline.
This whistler, by the way, is a 19-year-old girl who works at a defense plant. Oh, but she's an excellent whistler. So the guy who hosts the show doesn't do the whistling. They have
Merry
a special
Christmas, Mike.
Fraud.
A very Merry Christmas, isn't it? 6 months of going straight and you've given it up. Going back to the store and get your share of those days' receipts. Yes, it's all so simple, isn't it, Mike? It'll soon be 12 o'clock midnight, and old Gus will be up in the Louis 15th room on the 13th floor. The safe in Humboldt's office will be a cinch. You've seen it many times. And as for the 2 dicks tailing now, it'll be duck soup to shake 'em. Duck soup. That's right.
Duck soup
Heading
for
up
those
10th Avenue
dicks.
now. You can double back and...
There's the
wrong,
dicks
Mike?
up for the...
Why are you stopping? Could it be that tune, the brightly lighted window, the old man standing back there? Of course, now you remember. 10th Avenue. This is old Mr. Samuel's little store. This is it, where you're going to buy Elaine her Christmas present. And there it is. What you heard, the music box, sitting on the counter next to the open door, playing.
Well, good evening, Michael, and Merry Christmas.
Hiya, Mr. Samuel.
You came in just in time. I was just about to close up. I guess down at your big store, you've been closed for a long time. But here, well, we little fellows have to stay open to get all the business we can. What can I do for you?
Is this
this the
Gus?
music?
Is this the same actor that does Gus? Because it sounds like the same accent.
Well,
Like a
not to
slightly
mention it's
German. Yeah. I don't know.
probably-
Box that Elaine likes so well.
Ah, yes, that is the one. She was very taken with it. Ah, how her eyes sparkled when she looked at it.
Yeah, there's a powder puff of something inside, isn't
Ah,
there?
that is right. And when you open it, it plays the little tune. So. Yes, she was saying how it was her favorite tune.
Okay. How much is it?
Well, it's usually priced at $75, but I'll give it to you and the young lady for $50.
$50?
Well, yes, you see, it's a genuine antique, and it's the best thing I have in the store.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's more than I figured on.
I'm sorry, too. I would have let you have it for less if I could, but 50 is the lowest.
Sure. Well, okay, forget it.
I'm sorry. Come back again.
Man, Mike's having a hell of a day.
Now what's the matter, Mike?
Can't get
Why
his
are you
boy right,
stopping?
doesn't?
Could it be you can't make up your mind? Could it be you're thinking about the music box, about Elaine, about Christmas? Yes. This may be your last Christmas with her, you know. Your last chance to give her a decent present with clean money you earned. It might be a nice gesture, eh, Mike? A little token of all that.
Twist that
Mike
knife.
did.
Shut up, Whistler.
Oh, Mr. Samuels, I'll take it. Wrap it up as a gift, and I'll take it.
Merry Christmas, Mike. That's what's written across the package. It was going to be a symbol for a wonderful new life, wasn't it? And now it's an ironic farewell. Your last attempt at doing good, as Reverend Hewitt called it. Too bad it won't bring you that great reward he promised. It won't have a chance, because there are those two dicks still following you.
Those dicks.
And you're heading for J.C. Deaver's department store, office of Henry Humboldt, and the interior of its safe. It's almost 12 midnight, and you have to duck those guys.
30 girls, 30. The greatest little show in town, starring Tootsie Laverne and her 30 raving beauties. A new show just started. Only 40 cents. Ticket, mister?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
40 cents. Thank you, sir. A new show just started. Hurry, ladies and gentlemen. It's the greatest little show.
You're doing great, Mike. Those dicks will follow you in, but you won't be there, will you? No. You're heading for that exit sign down at the side. Through the curtain. Push out through the door, and there you are. In the alley. And free. Okay. Now, up to the street. Lose yourself in the crowd. Turn down Fifth toward the store. You're okay now. No need to look back. Or is there? They're there. You didn't shake them after all. They were wise to that trick, and they were waiting for you outside the theater. Yes, you should have known. Now what? Maybe you've got an idea. Yes. A good idea. A honey. Why not lead them to the store? Sure, that's where they expect you to go. But beat them there and hide, down in the freight dock, behind one of those big crates. They'll never find you in that mess. Then when they get tired looking, you'll be able to slip in and do the job. How's that? Brilliant. Yes, brilliant. Yes, here's the store. There they are, a quarter of a block behind. When you hit the alley, you'll run for it. Make a dash back to the back. And you'll be so far ahead then, they won't know whether you got in or not. And you'll fool them entirely. You'll have them searching the whole store. Okay, here it is. Okay, you made it. You left them way behind. Here's the freight dock.
Okay. Come on, coppers. Just try and find me in here.
Found it. Now we've left. I told you knew we were following him. Sure. But let's not waste time. We had plenty of time to get in. Probably was the employee's key. Okay. Get out your skeleton and let's go in after him.
Worked like a charm, didn't it, Mike? You're sitting here in your crate, comfortably waiting, while they search the entire store. They've been to do one. If they don't hurry, you'll have...
Yeah, that does it. Yeah, too bad. Hey, flash your lighter on. He could have ducked into one of these crates.
Man.
Yeah, but we never find him in that mess. He could play hide and seek with us there for days. Yeah, you're right. I guess we might as well call it.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
Fine way to spend Christmas Eve anyway. Go on, let's go home. Okay, I'm right beside you.
Well, Mike, Merry Christmas. This is better than you expected. They're leaving, actually going away, leaving the place to your tender mercies. You won't have to dodge them coming out. They aren't going to camp out in Humboldt's office. They're actually walking away, down the alley, and you're set.
Good Lord.
Oh, no.
Something's wrong. It's going. I can't stop. I can't.
Hey, Joe, listen. Yeah. Come on, right over
Give
here.
me music
I
box.
got it.
Okay, right here.
Cobb, we finally cornered you. Come on out.
No use hiding in there now, Cab. Come on. We want to talk to you.
Yeah, I know. I got the idea. Okay, you got me.
Yeah. Thanks for the music.
Led us right to the dance floor.
Yeah. That's the great reward the minister was talking about. Great.
I don't get you.
Oh, you wouldn't. It's a private little joke on me.
Yeah? Well, that music maybe did you a big favor, Cobb.
Favor?
That's right. Maybe you'll see what I mean if you'll answer a few questions for us.
I don't see why I should.
You got nothing to be afraid of, kid, if you just answer a couple of questions straight.
I'll answer one. I didn't do it. I had nothing to do with it.
Okay. You had nothing to do with it. We didn't ask you that question. But answer this. You brought that music box to the store on 10th Avenue a while ago, didn't you?
You know I did. You saw me buy it.
And you paid for it with 2 20s and a 10,
Yeah.
right? Well, part of that money was marked. It was money that had been stolen from Deaver's department store.
I said it wasn't stolen. That was the dough. I got my pay envelope.
All of it? Didn't somebody else give you part of it?
No, I just earned the whole thing.
Didn't George Osborne give you part of it?
Osborne? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did.
Oh.
He paid me $30. He owed me.
Okay. Now, this is very important. How'd Osborne pay you? In what denomination of bills?
Well, Yeah, I remember. He gave me 3 10s.
10s? You're sure?
Sure, I'm sure.
And the 20s came to you in your pay envelope, huh?
Yeah.
You'll swear to that in court?
Of course.
Okay. That does it. Thanks, Cobb.
Hey, wait. You mean that's all you wanted me for?
It was enough. You just proved for us who stole that 10 grand from the store. And the way you were acting, we'd almost thought it was you. We hadn't have known better all the time.
But that's not the end of the story. The Whistler will bring it to you in just a moment. Meantime, Signal Oil Company joins with 1,800 Signal gasoline dealers throughout the West from Canada to Mexico in hoping that this has been a good Christmas for you. It wasn't the Christmas we had all hoped and prayed for. There were too many empty places at the table, too many empty places in our hearts. As we look back...
We have to remember, this is 1944. The World War II is just beginning, really. In its first year, pretty much. No, second year at this point.
Yeah, almost done.
So, really kind of prescient, mentioning that, it's not the Christmas we had been hoping for. Lots of people missing.
We may wonder if perhaps we didn't give quite enough. Not quite enough of our efforts, of our money, and of our blood, which can mean life itself to a boy at the front. Yet even the regrets that may tinge this season's gladness can prove its greatest blessing if they fire us to new determination, to new and greater effort through the coming year until our prayers are finally answered and peace again returns to heal this confused and torn world. Yes, if, as this Christmas of 1944 draws to a close, we will rededicate ourselves to this, our job, we may, each of us, hasten the realization of that ancient promise, peace on earth, goodwill toward men. And now, back to the Whistler.
3 years. I was wrong. My math was wrong. War's been going on for 3 years, World War II.
And we're less than you for
quite
being done, I
surprising,
think.
isn't it? The police didn't suspect Mike at all. You see, it was this way. Because of his record, the cops began to tail Mike in the very beginning, when the money first began to be missed. Twice they had him under observation at the very time the money was stolen, so they knew he didn't do it. But they kept watching him in the hope he would lead them to the real thief, and he did. Yes, because when things got hot, the thief finally tried to frame Mike by giving him some of the stolen money. Marked money this time. George Osborne? Oh, no. In fact, Osborne almost gummed things up by paying his debts. The detectives hadn't counted on that. That's why they had to be sure which bills Osborne gave Mike. The 10s weren't marked, the 20s were. The 20s Mike got in his pay envelope from Humboldt. Yes, Henry Humboldt, the office manager. You see, things were getting too hot for him. The trail was getting too close. He knew the money was marked, and he knew the detectives were watching Mike. So he gave him some of the marked bills in his severance pay, trying to frame him. It couldn't have worked, of course, but Humboldt didn't know that, and neither did Mike. And Mike almost did something he regretted all his life. He almost went back to a life of crime. Yes, if the music box hadn't have jammed and started playing just when it did, and the detectives had gone off, Mike's life would have gone down the skid. Because it did play when it did. Well, next week he'll be back at the store in a better job. Yes, and he got a Christmas bonus, too. They saw to that after Humboldt was arrested. And all because the music box played. Maybe that's why Mike said...
No, sir. That music box sits right there on the table where everybody can see it.
Darling, I really think it means as much to you as it does to me.
Oh, I guess maybe it does, Elaine. Just like the Reverend Hewitt says, a little good brings a great reward. Yeah. For the rest of my life, that little gadget's going to mean a Merry Christmas. Darling, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
No.
Mike.
Hurry up with your whistling, Dorothy.
Yeah, keep it down over there.
Whistle your heart out and get back to the defense plant. Start packing those ball bearings. And the flute really goes crazy, too. I love that.
Flute goes harder.
Next Monday at 9 o'clock, the Signal Oil program will bring you another strange tale by the Whistler. The Signal Oil program is broadcast for your entertainment by the Signal Oil Company, marketers of Signal's famous Go Farther gasoline and motor oil, and by your neighborhood Signal Oil dealer, who is at your service daily to keep your car running for the duration. The Signal Oil program, produced by George W. Allen, with music by Wilbur Hatch, is transmitted to our troops overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service. Bob Anderson speaking for your friend, the Signal Oil Company, and suggesting once again that you let every go signal remind you that you do go farther with Signal gasoline. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This is CBS.
And of course, just CBS on the West Coast. CBS on the East Coast plays an entirely different show.
Interesting.
Because, again, this was a West Coast-centric show. There was also a thing that didn't happen in this episode, which is kind of interesting. Because Signal Oil had gas stations, they would stipulate to the writers, not in this episode, but they would stipulate that part of the solution to justice being served has to take place at a gas station or in a car or on a California highway.
Wow.
So there are other
highway.
episodes.
Yeah.
Other episodes that we'll listen to in the future, and that will come up like, I was almost over the edge, but fortunately I stopped at a Signal gas station and I got a cup of coffee.
Oh, that's smart. That's real smart there, John.
I got all my fluids topped off. I just love stuff like that. I also love that, as popular as this show was, Signal was like, yeah, we're not paying for it to play on the East Coast or in the Central Time Zone. Why would we do that? We don't have any gas stations there. They're like, screw the rest of the country. Could we be a national brand? Sure we could. What ended up happening with Signal Oil is they actually went into business with an aircraft company. And so they did have oil companies. They did have like heating oil and some gas stations, but they really went more into defense and more into building planes and bombs and stuff. So very interesting how American industry works. So Mr. Boyce, what did you think of The Whistler? Would you listen to The Whistler again?
the Whistler. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. If it's more street level thrillers like that, definitely. I think I was on board with it. And the Christmas theme, I think it works. There's a lot of times you have Christmas episodes, you're kind of like, this could have been whenever. But I'm like, the idea of being fired during this time kind of added the stake. So yeah, top to bottom, one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, Mr. Townsel, you being a writer of the horror and the the sci-fi, did this work for you as one of the shows for our haunted radio?
I think so. For I point out a couple of things. Number one, you mentioned that this wasn't as great of a twist as we might expect in other regular episodes, but you know what? I got to tell you, I mean, I didn't see it coming with the frame up and so forth. So
same here.
I kind of pride myself on figuring out twists coming, and I didn't see this one. And also, as far as a Christmas episode, you know, this is definitely written for a certain type of person that might have trouble during the holidays.
Yeah,
and needs to be needs to be uplifted a bit instead of just coming in with all sugary sweet beginning to end.
Right.
So I thought the payoff was really good in that respect and gave us a little bit of something to think about along the way.
You know, that's an excellent point. You know, the dark side of the holidays, that actually does show up in quite a few shows. I'm not sure that they do that so much in modern shows, but yeah, in the older shows, there is that, like, I totally lost my Christmas spirit. Oh, but it's back. Happy ending. It's back.
Well, and if I can share this with you, I mentioned, yeah, I know my internet's probably tripping on what we're saying, but sorry about that. But
no.
I did mention earlier the Twilight Zone episode of Night of the Meek, which was later remade with Richard Mulligan in the 80s Twilight Zone.
Oh.
And at that time it was being just trivia. It was being headed up by Harlan Ellison, very notable writer, of course.
Yes, yeah.
And he quit the show over that episode, not because of their remake of Night of the Meek, but there was going to be a companion story called Knackles, which was a story about the anti-Santa. And it was very controversial because it actually used, for example, racism to denounce racism.
Oh, wow.
But people, you know, they didn't trust the audience to see the point.
Science fiction, am I right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But again, a dark path to a brighter end of the road. So it would have been interesting to see that it had been made, even if it might not have been well received by most audiences at the time.
Wow, that's interesting. Flobo, as one of my fellow professional wrestling fans, did you remember that there actually was in WWF, I believe it was, there was an evil Santa Claus named Xanta Claus?
Yeah, Santa Claus was the next. I think it was was it Balls Mahoney?
It was Balls Mahoney.
Yeah, that was Balls. I was like, yeah, I came out there and just hated kids. And I was like, wow, the anti-Santa Claus. He got stunned. It was great.
Which was like a great gimmick for December. And then once December was over, they were like, sorry, Balls, you're out. And he's like, what? I did this gimmick great. What are you kidding me? They're like, yeah, see you next December. He's like, well, forget that. I'm going to go work for ECW.
Yeah, he had like
he was framed.
Yeah, exactly. He had a red and black suit, right? He had like the was like some white trim was like black trim, and he had a stubble beard. And
yeah, it's like a hideous, ugly Santa Claus. Not as good as the Christmas creature, which was Kane, the wrestler Kane. He's a giant man. His mom made him a costume that made him look like a Christmas tree.
I didn't know this one.
Look up pictures of Christmas creature. It's a beautiful suit. Like his mother, for all the work she did, just gorgeous. But it's one of the most hideous wrestling.
Oh, that is bad. That is like before there was Elf, there was Christmas creature.
Well, gentlemen, we came in under an hour, so God bless us, everyone, for that. And next week there will be another pre-recorded show, also with Flobo Boyce, also with Joe Townsel alongside me, and we will be doing. Was that the plot to overthrow Christmas?
What sounds like it,
yeah. That's our Christmas episode. It's a very famous episode, so if you're digging these old time radio shows, and I really hope you are, this is a really great one. Join us for that. We did already tape that one because technology is a cruel mistress. What can I tell you? But we got through this one beautifully. Mwah! Love it. Chef's kiss.
Yeah, because we use Signal Oil. Your car goes farther with Signal Oil. That's
right.
It's only on the West Coast.
Only on the West Coast. None of you East Coast people, put your hands over your ears right now. You should not enjoy this. I know we could play the Whistler, and people listening to it on the East Coast, that's the first time it was ever broadcast there.
For us.
All right. Well, definitely stick with us. 7 p.m.s on the Pacific Coast and 10 p.m. on the East Coast. And that's when Hunted Radio from Space comes to you. Flobo Boyce, where can people find you on the internet so they can wish you a Merry Christmas?
Aw, flobito.com. But of course, got to buy the merch at flobito.threadless.com. Cool designs are being added all the time. So support the homie.
Good. That looks good. JoeTownsel.com. What can we find there, Joe Townsel?
Joe's books, Joe's web appearances, and Joe's great times with his good friends, John and Flobo.
And you definitely want to put a Joe Townsel book under the tree for someone you love. Joe Townsel, great man, great writer, great entertainer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
We hope to see you again. My friends, wouldn't be Christmas without you. So thank you for doing this with me.
Santa Claus.
We'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody. God bless us, everyone.